A Way Out is a really interesting new game coming out of EA's Originals program to fund indie titles and then publish them under the EA label. Where Unravel offered a 2D puzzle platformer and Faye was a Metroidvania-like platformer, this new title is much more unique. It's one of the few games made in present time that not only offers but also focuses on local co-op, both in the traditional on-the-couch co-op and online co-op. A Way Out stars Leo and Vincent, a pair of convicts who have been sent to prison for reasons I'll leave up to you to find out. Regardless, the two find themselves having much more in common than they originally thought, with a mutual interest in wanting to escape prison. Together the two team up to plan and execute an escape. While the story isn't anything too new in the writing department, it did have a mildly slow build-up that later in the second half of the game had a great climax that made the journey completely worth it. Additionally, while the actual narrative of having a backdrop of having two unlikely yet uncommon prisoners needing each other to escape isn't new, the execution of the story with the split-screen game is an interesting take on it. The split-screen perspective doesn't just affect the gameplay, but the story as well. I found the story to almost act like a puzzle piece system, where I focus on gathering information and answering questions on my side of the game. My roommate was doing the same on the other half of the screen, and then we'd relay information to each other at the end of it, despite being literally right next to each other around a larger TV display. In a weird way, the game almost felt like a Mad Libs game, where my roommate and I were playing the game, but each of us contributed to new information to the narrative to create a much more whole story. The execution of the story alone offered a new and unique experience that in itself, I think is just worth trying this game out for. A Way Out offers a nice bite-sized 5 to 6 hour campaign that's designed in a very unique way. A Way Out is a game that can only be played with another player. You have the option of playing with either someone locally on the same platform as you or online with another friend. This means that if you actually want to play this game alone, you literally have to buy a second controller to play this game co-op with yourself. It's certainly a unique approach to a narrative-driven game, however it works in the favor of the game, and it helps it shine because of its unique approach. Luckily, you only need one copy of the game to play with a friend, even if you're online and not together. People are able to download a free version of the game, but can only actually play their free copy of the game if they're invited to a campaign by someone who did actually purchase the game. This promotion or feature is available on all the available platforms this game is on, and it helps cater to that whole co-op feeling, even if you're not technically in the same room. When you start the game, it opens up with an introduction to the two protagonists of A Way Out. Both have different personality quirks. Leo, for example, is rather rash and short-tempered, while Vincent is a bit more rational and tends to think things through. Both players are given the option to choose their character. While they don't really have specific differences in terms of skills, you can see the differences in their persona throughout the entire game. At its heart, A Way Out is a puzzle action adventure game, but it's not solely that. It's a game that actually incorporates a lot of different types of gameplay in the form of mini-games or sections. The main sections of the game will have you solving adventure-like puzzles with your teammate. Early on, for example, you have to cooperate with your teammate to get past both a nurse and a guard in order to retrieve a screwdriver that'll help you aid on your escape. Another example of cooperative adventuring is helping each other get past guards by stealth-taking them down, sometimes at the same time in order to escape two pairs at once. That's what the gameplay boils down to, adventure-like quests of solving puzzles by investigating the area around you for the right action. Scattered all across the core gameplay though are these minigame moments that, while aren't literal minigames, offer very unique and different types of gameplay. There's a bit of racing, a 2D beat 'em up, classic arcade, heck there's even something that looks like an Uncharted 1 first-person shooter. The different offerings of gameplay genres is a neat addition, though some of them could definitely still use a bit more polish. Regardless, the gameplay is really sold by the cooperative gameplay. There will be gameplay sections that have you simultaneously press the same button with your teammate in order to support each other in a problem. Furthermore, there are sequences where each of you will have to solve a puzzle that ultimately guide the other player down the right path. Most of the game is played in this split-screen setup that changes constantly. A lot of the time the screen will be split down the middle, showing the different perspectives of the two characters at the same time. That's not always constant though, and I really like that. The game actually cleverly changes the aspect ratio of certain screens to fit in accordance to the narrative. If one character is having a heartfelt moment cutscene with another character, the second player's character window will shrink to focus more attention on the main character on display, while the second character can still interact with the rest of the world in the background. On occasion, the split screen will actually become a single screen in order to show a visual that the team is seeing as a whole rather than two separate perspectives. While the game can be played online with a friend, I only recommend doing so if you're connected with a headset and can speak to each other in real time. Other than that, I'd recommend playing this whole game in one sitting in a couch co-op setup. That's certainly my favorite way to experience this game. I definitely thought it was the most rewarding way too. A Way Out is a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to its graphics. I played primarily on PC with a friend on local co-op. Visuals had moments where they looked truly magnificent, more often than not actually. Characters had great facial expressions that carried on the emotions and struggles of the pair of characters we were playing as. Some of the scenery had stunning moments, like one particular scene where the pair of characters were walking in the wilderness by a river. There's a great use of atmospheric lighting that really just makes this game look beautiful. With that said, there are moments where the game would mix and match high quality textures with low quality textures. In these scenes, the moment would look out of place and kill the immersion of the story. I also noticed there was a bit of an issue with alpha effects, like a prominent use of water towards the middle of the game. While this scene looked beautiful, I noticed that it made my PC chuck down from 60 FPS to 50 FPS while it was set on max settings. Even when lowering the graphical settings of the game though, I still continued to get that 10 FPS drop, so I think it's more of a prominent issue with the game itself than the power of my PC. For the console versions, performance varies across the board. Base consoles target 30 FPS, while the enhanced console versions like the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro run at an uncapped frame rate along with higher adaptive resolutions beyond the PS4's 1080p and Xbox One 720p. A Way Out sets pretty high standards for excellent voice acting coming from an indie game studio project. The roles of Leo and Vincent are beautifully portrayed throughout the game. Never once did it feel unnatural to hear these two fight, comfort each other, and just be around each other. At the start of the game, they're complete strangers, but by the end of it, you could easily confuse them for lifelong friends, and that's all thanks to the performances of the actors. Those performances are further improved by the way they're designed to play out in the game. You'll notice that even though both characters do actions at the same time, occasionally one character's perspective will take over in terms of importance. Not only does the aspect ratio change between the two split screens to focus on that important character, but so does the audio mix for the two different conversations going on, focusing on the more important half than the other. A Way Out is a unique and interesting game that takes a familiar story backdrop but then executes it in a new and exciting way. Going into this game, I thought the co-op gameplay enforcement would be hit or miss, but luckily, I think the game does a great job with it and ultimately offers a fun and new kind of experience because of it. With that said, there are a few inconsistencies in the quality of visuals and the pacing of the story, but despite it, A Way Out was a joy to play and by far my favorite EA Originals game that EA has published so far. If you have the right circumstances for this game, so either a friend near you or a friend online that can play with you, then by all means you should check out A Way Out, even at its smaller 5 to 6 hour play size. It's available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC for $29.99, and you have that deal going on where you only really need to buy one copy of the game to play with two people separately online. That does it for my review of A Way Out for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. If you have any questions about the game or future review requests, please leave them in the comments down below. You can also reach me over on Twitter, Instagram, or my Discord, which are all linked in the description. If you enjoyed this review, then please consider dropping a like and subscribing for more reviews just like this. I'll see you in the next one.